You can already do research with AI. You can ask ChatGPT or Gemini a question and they'll give you an answer, right? But here's the problem. That answer is often shallow, outdated, maybe, or just plain wrong sometimes. And lately, as you very likely know, these AI companies have been hyping a mode called deep research. Perplexity, Gemini, ChatGPT all have this mode, all aptly named the exact same thing across these models. And by the way, later in this video, I'm going to share with you a free deep research model that I think is better than all three of those well-known ones. It mixes together all the different AI models agentically within the research that it's doing, and you've likely never heard of this tool, and I love it. So is deep research just another overhyped AI feature? Does it actually work? Well, I spent over 50 hours trying out this feature across all the models that I've just talked about, and I've seen what works and what I think is a waste of time. And the results, well, they kind of surprised me. And in this video, I'm going to give you a clear breakdown of each platform's capabilities without all the marketing hype. I'll show you real examples of how I've used deep research to solve actual business problems in my business. And you'll learn exactly when deep research is worth the time and money and when it isn't. And by the way, these use cases are going to be different from what you may have seen already. And by the end, you're going to have my step-by-step prompting formula that gets results with the best deep research models in minutes, not hours. By the way, if you're new here, my name is Rick Mulready, and for the past 11 years, I've run a multi-seven-figure online business, and today I run the AI Playbook community over on School, and I'll link to it in the description below. It's for online business owners who are looking to leverage AI in your business to streamline and increase profit. Now, before we dive in, let me show you something super interesting. Here's a standard question that I just put into ChatGPT 4.0 about analyzing CRMs for online businesses. And it gave me a really straightforward answer. As you can see here, it just simply lists them out with a few bullet points for each one of these. And so it's given me a list of 6 and then a few different recommendations for me based on my needs. Now, check this out. Using deep research also in ChatGPT, here's the exact same question using my deep research prompting strategy. As you can see here, the first thing that it did was it asked me follow-up questions to clarify some different things to make sure that it's giving me the best response possible. Now, here is the executive summary, comparative analysis of CRM options with a nice table. As you can see here, going all the way through and breaking down each of these tools really, really in depth. And as you can see here, the difference is massive. One gives you pretty general advice that you could find pretty much anywhere. The other one, deep research, delivers very specific, in-depth, actionable intelligence with current data and citations. And that's the power of proper deep research prompting. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. So the first thing you got to understand is what exactly is deep research? Well, essentially it's a personal research assistant working for you whenever you want it. Unlike, your standard going into any of these AI models limited to their training data, deep research is going to actively search the web, synthesize the information, and generate detailed reports for you, kind of like I just showed you. And it's different from standard web search because it's going to mimic especially in ChatGPT, human research workflows through a 3-step process. Like number 1, collecting sources from across the web and any kind of documents that you upload into, if you're using deep research within ChatGPT. Number 2, reasoning through that information and identifying patterns, resolving conflicting information, and also drawing conclusions for you. And then number 3, outputting detailed reports and information from all that research. And I think it's really important, super important to understand how each platform approaches this in terms of deep research. So Perplexity, Gemini, which was the first one, and then ChatGPT. So let's talk about Perplexity's deep research first. It's going to be the fastest one. It's going to complete research in under like 3 minutes, which is way faster than any of the other models. It's going to search the web. It's going to extract key facts for you, and then it's going to create clear reports for you with all the citations. Now, in terms of strengths, it gives you really quick answers. It does a pretty wide range of sources, although I kind of go back and forth on that. And it does number the sources for easy verification of the information that it's giving you. Then the other thing, if you're having a really long conversation in Perplexity Deep Research, it can have sort of poor contextual remembering the context out of the entire conversation if it's a longer conversation. And Perplexity's Deep Research is by far my least favorite of these deep research modes that we've got available to us. Now the next one, Gemini Deep Research, which was the first model to come out with the deep research mode. It takes a very methodical approach with the research planning. It will take your question, it will develop a plan for you, which you can edit accordingly if you want. The process is going to be longer than Perplexity. It's going to typically take like 5 to 10 minutes. It excels at understanding complex topics. It's going to use established, more reputable sources. It's going to provide trustworthy information. As always, we need to be making sure that we're double checking our facts and stuff like that. But it may lack diverse perspectives when you're doing a deep research within Gemini. And it integrates really well with Google Drive because you can export the research report right into a Google Doc if you want to. Then there's ChatGPT's deep research, obviously. This is going to give you the most comprehensive research capabilities, in my opinion. It's going to have the slowest processing time, anywhere between, say, 5 and 30 minutes. The ones that I've run and through all these tests that I've been doing, generally in that 15 to 25, 30-minute range. It is capable of analyzing files and images. It excels at deep, complex topics. It can produce extremely detailed reports for you. It will struggle sometimes, and this is obviously a big thing when it comes to research, and that is struggling with source reliability. But again, as always, regardless of what platform that you're using, make sure that you're fact-checking with whatever results that you get. Now, this is also the most expensive. Yes, you can access deep research with ChatGPT. It's $200 a month for the Pro plan if you're going to be using this a lot. Now, you do get access to deep research on the Plus plan, which is the $20 a month, but you are very limited to the number of researches that you can do during the month. Now, let me show you a side-by-side comparison of the exact same prompt across all of these deep research models. And also, I will show you the fourth model that I think is the best one, in my opinion, and it's also free to use. Okay, so here we are in ChatGPT. This is the prompt that I will take you through in a little bit. This is the one that I've come up with that I think works the best for these deep research modes. And I'm asking about, again, as I mentioned earlier, CRM opportunities for online businesses. And as you can see here, it did it in 6 minutes and 23 sources, which I don't think is very much. Yes, it does include the citations within the content, but it does give me a nice executive summary, a nice table here of each of these tools. And then it goes through each of these tools and gives summaries for each one, which I think is really helpful. It is a lot of content here. And then going down to the very bottom, I also ask it for scalability options. So it gives me a cost breakdown, which I really like. And I did ask for that though in my prompt. And then at the bottom here, it gives me the executive insights and trends and CRM solutions, and then with a conclusion at the bottom. Now here's Perplexity's output for the exact same prompt that I put in. As you can see here, it did search 43 sources, which is way more than what ChatGPT's version did. This is the entire report right here. And it is very brief. It does give me, I like the table a whole lot better than what I saw in ChatGPT. But as you can see here, it is super short. It's nowhere near in depth as these other deep research tools. And just like in the other models, you can ask follow-up questions of the research. And just like in Perplexity, normally it gives you suggested questions that you can follow up with. That is pretty cool. And now we're looking at Gemini's deep research. On the left-hand side here, this is the actual report that it created. It searched 414 sites. As you can see here down here. Now, one thing I've noticed with Gemini's deep research is the number of websites that it is using as sources in its researches has gotten way, way bigger. So here's the report that it did come up with here. And also you can export it to docs, as I just mentioned here. And so this is the report over in Google Docs. I just exported over there. It's 14 pages long. And as you can see here, it's pretty comprehensive. And I like how it just broke it up really nicely. And then finally, this is Genspark.ai. This is my favorite deep research platform to be using. I just like the output and some of the options that it gives you within the deep research output. So like, for example, last week, I got this really cool mind map as part of the output, something that I've not seen ever in any of the other deep research models. So as you can see here, it went through 213 sources. You can ask questions to it right on the follow-up. And like the other models, you can ask questions about the research. And what I really like too is the table of contents that it came up with. Now check this out also at the bottom. It gives you a really nice summary, also gives you a really detailed summary, gives you a section called the takeaway, and then it also gives you supplementary video resources. Yes, Perplexity will do that if applicable. I just like how this report comes out. And at the very bottom, it gives you this similar knowledge section, which gives you access to similar researches. So I really like Genspark. Another big thing why I love deep research in Genspark is it does a thing called mixture of agents, where it says it auto mixes the best AI models for your specific task. So as you can see here, it lists out all the main models, and it will use the models that it thinks is best for your specific research question. So as you can see here, each platform has its distinct strengths and weaknesses when it comes to this deep research mode, depending on what it is that you want to be researching. Now let's talk about how businesses can actually use deep research. And no, I'm not going to give you the standard use cases that you've heard a million times with deep research. So here are 5 unconventional applications that I've found incredibly valuable with deep research. And the first use case I've actually already shown you, that is researching a new tool to use for your business, whether it's a CRM, a social media tool, an AI tool, maybe it's new equipment for your business. We're always looking for new tools, but rather than crawling through websites, trying to understand and piece together different things, which one is best for you, deep research is going to do the heavy lifting for you. Using deep research to do this kind of research saved me hours, and it helped me make a way more informed decision based on my specific needs. For the second business use case for deep research, if you are doing any kind of client research to get a proposal to try to get new clients, this is perfect for you. So freelancers, consultants, etc. Deep research can transform your client preparation. So instead of getting basic company background information, you can get comprehensive insights on things like market positioning and competitive landscape, recent initiatives and their outcomes, potential pain points based on industry trends, unique opportunities, like specific to their specific business model. So when you use deep research in this way and you can get this depth of information and level of expertise in your proposal, you're going to show a whole other level of preparation and depth of knowledge and research than your competitors. So let's just say I'm preparing a proposal for a sustainable fashion brand looking to expand its market presence in North America. The purpose of this is to prepare that proposal for marketing and branding strategies that are tailored to the specific audience of this brand. So this is part of my prompt. And as you can see here, it's gone through 32 sources, which I don't think is a ton, but it's a very in-depth research output here with a lot of statistics and helpful information that can go into the proposal. Now, the cool thing is if you're using AI to put together your proposal, you can use this research or wherever you get the research from, whichever model, and use it in a knowledge source or a knowledge base that informs your proposal, which is going to make the putting together the proposal way easier and faster. And again, here's that exact same question and prompt into Genspark, getting the table of contents, and then scrolling down here with all the citations. By the way, it did 141 sources in this result, which again, I really like how the output goes here. Gives you the takeaway, and then again, a supplementary list of video resources. And by the way, in Genspark, before you get that nice report that I just showed you, this is what it looks like on the output screen. And this right here is, they call it the Spark page. Now, I like the interesting facts at the bottom here. So check this out. For the 141 sources examined by this agent, the total word count is estimated. So at an average reading speed of 200 to 250 words per minute, that's nearly 9 hours of reading, nearly a full day's work that it would have taken you to do the research that it did in a matter of minutes. So I think that's kind of funny how they include this here. Use case number 3 is all about target audience deep dives on deep research. And this is going to be different than what you've likely seen. So instead of surface level demographics, you can get a deep report on your target audience, including things like uncovering behavioral patterns of your target audience and preference shifts. These are things that I would never find through a conventional research. So here's an example of this kind of search and the question I asked. So basically you can see here, I'm researching the behaviors, preferences, and demographics of my target audience to improve marketing and product development strategies. The purpose is to inform business decisions by identifying key customer segments, pain points, and the best ways to engage with them. And I think Perplexity Deep Research did actually a pretty decent job on this, where it goes through the different age and generational trends, psychographic profiles, key pain points, et cetera, et cetera. And then it also included strategies for effective audience engagement based on the research that it's finding, which I really like. So that's very actionable for me, giving me that conclusion. Again, all the different resources that it searched. I think it was what, 57? Yeah, 57 sources that it did in this search. It's okay in terms of the number of sources, but I did like how it broke out this kind of research. So super helpful use case for deep research. For use case number 4 for your business, deep research is really good if you need to do any kind of regulatory compliance research. So if you are in regulated industries and you're trying to stay current on changing requirements, that's going to be crucial, right? So deep research can monitor and synthesize that regulatory changes across multiple jurisdictions, identifying really what specifically applies to your business. Now think about how long that kind of research would take you. That would take you hours and hours, or somebody on your team hours and hours to do that. Or if you're paying somebody else to do that research for you, it's going to be really expensive because of the amount of time that it's going to take to do that research. Deep research is going to do this in a matter of minutes. And you've seen the levels of research output that these tools give you. So we'll just move right on to the 5th use case, which is market opportunity analysis. So check this out. Deep research is going to be really good at identifying emerging market trends, for example, before they become mainstream. So by analyzing all the data sources that it does in its deep research, it's going to highlight potential opportunities for you that aren't yet saturated. So for example, if I want to learn more about AI and online coaching, emerging market trends, opportunities, and challenges, I found Gemini to be the best output for this specific search compared to any of the other models that we've been talking about here today. It's really thorough, gives you a nice chart, et cetera, gives the opportunities. I really like Gemini's output for this. Now, if you think about it, the ROI calculation for using deep research is pretty straightforward, right? So let's just say you value your time or your team's time at a simple $50 an hour. Deep research can save you, like we saw before, 9 hours of research. That's $450 that it is saving you, which is far more than the subscription cost for these platforms, even ChatGPT Pro, which is $200. So now let's talk for a minute about who deep research is actually for. Deep research is built primarily for people who do intensive knowledge work in areas like finance, science, policy, engineering, professionals who need thorough, precise, and reliable research. But in reality, like we're talking about here today, it's really valuable for business owners and entrepreneurs, people who need to make informed decisions really, really quickly, who don't have access to a full-on research team, and people who need to stay ahead of market trends, or consultants and freelancers who need to quickly understand client industries like we talked about here today, people who create data-backed proposals, people who need to differentiate themselves with deeper insights than what maybe other companies who are trying to get that same business are going to be coming to the table with. Content creators, people who need well-researched factual content, people who want to find unique angles on topics. Deep research is great for this. People who need to verify information from multiple sources and not just a few sources that you might get within a normal, Google search. Deep research is really good for content creators. Now, as I mentioned at the very beginning of this video, standard prompting techniques often fail with deep research because they don't leverage the unique capabilities of these advanced modes in terms of the deep research models. So after doing all these tests, I put together a prompt framework that I've been kind of alluding to throughout the video here that consistently delivers what I think are superior results when using deep research. And here's that 4-part deep research prompting framework. It begins with defining the scope. So you really want to start by clearly defining the entire scope and boundaries of your research question. And you want to be super specific about things like exactly what you need to know, the depth required in the research that you want the model to do. Any specific sources that you want included or excluded, be clear about that in the first part of your query. And also, if there's a time period relevance to the research, you want to be clear about that in your prompt as well. The second part of the deep research prompting framework is being very specific about the output format that you are looking for. Next in the prompt, you want to specify exactly how you want the information presented to you. So tell it the structure of the report that you want. Tell it what sections that you want to make sure are required. Maybe the proposal that you're submitting to a specific company, for example, needs to include certain sections, well, you can put that into your deep research prompt. If you have data visualization preferences, put it in there. If you want a certain citation style, put it into your prompt. The next part of your prompt, and this is the critical step that most people miss when it comes to using deep research, is that you want to direct how you want the AI to reason through conflicting information that it might be finding across all these various data sources. So give it prioritization criteria for sources, how to handle that conflicting data, what constitutes sufficient evidence for the conclusions that it's making. And then you want to be super clear about any kind of areas that require deeper exploration in your research. And then finally, specify how you plan to use this information, which is going to help the AI prioritize relevance in its research output that it gives you. So for example, your decision-making context, like why are you having this research done in the first place? Problems that you're trying to solve, what actions that you're going to take based on the findings of the deep research report, your level of expertise in the subject, like what do you already know? So that's going to make it easier for the AI to give you the kind of information that's going to be most helpful for you. And this right here is the prompt template that I put together that contains the exact framework that I just took you through. Now, by structuring the prompt this way, you're essentially programming a custom research workflow tailored to your specific needs. And it's this level of prompt with the framework I've just taken you through that gets you the kind of in-depth output for your research that we've been talking about here today. And by the way, if you want this prompt template, I'll link to it in the description below. So which platform should you use when it comes to deep research? Well, it's gonna really depend on what your specific needs are. As you saw here today, Perplexity is great for speed and quick insights, which kind of goes against what I think deep research is really all about. Gemini is going to be great for methodical research from trusted sources. ChatGPT for depth and complexity, if your budget allows. And then finally, Genspark AI, which I think is sort of the best of all worlds among all these deep research AI models. But regardless of the platform, proper prompting, like we've talked about here today, is going to be the key to unlocking the full potential from your deep research. All right, thanks for watching today's video. If you are interested in joining my school community, the AI Playbook, if you're an online business looking to leverage AI to streamline and increase your profit, I'll link to the community in the description below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.